Stays crunchy, even in milk. For 60 years? Ahoy! We're celebrating the 60th anniversary of Cap'n Crunch. Is it really Cap'n Crunch's 60th birthday? We've got the cereal box to prove it. Issued this year, 2023, is the special edition of Cap'n Crunch's Birthday Crunch. Says right here, 60th birthday. It's true. Cap'n Crunch and his cereal made their debut in 1963. And by the way, if you're calling him Captain Crunch instead of Cap'n Crunch, that's incorrect. How did Captain become Cap'n? And by the way, do you know what Cap'n Crunch's first name is? Stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll fill you in on the whole thing. Now, even though the Quaker Oats Company doesn't put their Quaker logo on the Cap'n Crunch boxes anymore, Cap'n Crunch is a Quaker Oats product. And it all started around 1960 when Quaker Oats, which definitely owned the hot cereal market, wanted to expand into the ready-to-eat pre-sweetened cereal market. And Quaker Oats knew that their ready-to-eat cereal had to be something special. And that meant crunch. Kids love crunch, and they hate when cereal gets soggy too fast in milk. So Quaker Oats knew that whatever their campaign was, whatever the cereal was going to be all about the crunch. Also, they knew the key to any kid-friendly cereal was Saturday morning TV. So, unlike most cereal mascots, who were usually afterthoughts and kind of one note, think about the Trix Rabbit or even Tony the Tiger, they wanted their mascot to be a Saturday morning star. His commercials could be like the shows that they sponsored. And with their big advertising dollars, they could be even better than the shows they sponsored. Always a class act, Quaker turned to the best in the business, Jay Ward, the producer of Rocky and Bullwinkle, which was acknowledged as being the wittiest and most sophisticated animated cartoons on the air. So it was that Bruce Baker of Compton Advertising turned to Jay Ward Productions to propose they create a campaign for Quaker Oats around a cereal that went crunch. The only stipulation was, whatever character was created, he had to have the word crunch in his name. In a twist worthy of Rocky and Bullwinkle, just about everyone at the Jay Ward Studios were on summer vacation when the ad man approached. Luckily, Alan Burns, one of the top writers at Jay Ward Productions, was on hand, so it was up to him to create the characters and the world they lived in for this unique cereal campaign. The brilliant Alan Burns would of course go on to create The Munsters and, most famously, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. He created the character of the kindly yet adventurous sea captain and his crew, who were all kids.
Ahoy, loyal crew! The ubiquitous Cap'n Crunch speaking.
Ubiquitous?
It's a $2 word, meaning I can be everywhere at once.
Nonsense, Captain. Nobody can go everywhere at once.
No.
Of course not.
I can.
And he thought a good way to come up with their names was to do A, B, C, and D. So he created Alfie, Brunhilde, Carlisle, and Dave. Rounding out this colorful crew was Sea Dog, because of course you had to have a funny animal.
Morning already, Sea Dog? Where's the crew? All hands on deck! Pirates off the port bow! This ought to fetch 'em. It's Cap'n Crunch, the cereal named after me. Cap'n Crunch, delightfully sweet, sugar sweet, and fun to munch 'cause it keeps its crunch. So crisp, it never uncrunches, not even in milk. Now,
anybody for a bowl of Cap'n Crunch?
Scuttle my hornpipe, sea dog. There's people at breakfast I never saw before. Oh, man's got to be careful when he says Captain Crunch. Now it's your grocer's, Captain Crunch, the cereal that's named after me.
And if there were going to be adventures, there had to be villains. So there was Magnolia Bulkhead, who wanted not only the crunchy cereal, but Captain Crunch himself, and Jean Lafoot, the barefoot pirate. Jean Lafoot proved so popular that he even got his own cereal, one of the many Captain Crunch spinoffs, Jean Lafoot's Cinnamon Crunch. He even got his name in the cereal, which is more than Magnolia did. Poor Magnolia, it just doesn't seem fair. In producing these new commercials, really mini cartoons, Jay Ward turned to his usual cast of brilliant voice actors, so that Dawes Butler was the voice of Captain Crunch. And Alfie, too. June Foray was the voice of Brunhilde and Magnolia. Bill Scott, who is famous as the voice of Bullwinkle, was the voice of Jean Lafoot and Dave. Alan Burns wrote the first group that premiered in 1963, and after that, Bill Scott wrote these mini cartoons, produced by Jay Ward into the 1980s. The quality of the Captain Crunch commercials was so high that they were easily the best-looking thing on Saturday morning, and they looked much better than the shows that they were sponsoring, supposedly the main event. It was a brilliant stroke on Quaker's part that really formed a TV series with new adventures introduced on a regular basis. And of course, the characters were on the beautifully designed boxes and in many premiums and prizes, free inside. Those prizes included buttons, Sea Dog's bosun whistle, drinking glass stickers, iron-on insignia, and more. Among the most elaborate of the prizes was a set of 6 posters. That, of course, was a mail-in premium. There was also a Captain Crunch crew kit, which you could mail away for, and you received everything you needed to be a loyal member of Captain Crunch's crew. There was even an oath of allegiance to take. On my honor, as a loyal Captain Crunch crew member, I pledge allegiance to his great name and do promise to give my support to all Captain Crunch causes. Furthermore, I do promise to be trustworthy, obedient, clean, courteous, and shipshape to all. Best of all was another premium that you sent away for, an elaborate treasure chest set. This is by far the most well-regarded and sought after by collectors premium that Captain Crunch has ever offered.
Is this the right treasure chest, Captain?
Open her up, Alf, and we'll see if it's got everything the one on the back of my cereal's got. The one you can send for me, Hearties.
It's got a slot, like a bank.
Just like the chest in the Captain Crunch package.
The padlock really works. And this buried treasure map...
Hides a secret compartment.
And this is really a bowl and spoon for sugar-sweet Captain Crunch cereal.
That stays crunchy, even in milk.
It's even got pirate coins.
Just like the one on the package.
Also a real pirate, kids.
Not like the one on the package.
It's Jean Lafoot.
The barefoot pirate!
Anyone can send for a treasure chest, Jean.
Just send 75 cents, like it says on the package.
You'll want to get a package today, mateys. If you dig these chests...
Now, I don't have too many Captain Crunch premiums in my own collection, but I do have a few. This was offered free inside in specially marked packages of Captain Crunch. I believe these were the very first Captain Crunch premiums offered, which was very smart. As part of the rollout of the Captain Crunch campaign, this helped establish the characters and explain who they were. It says on the back, meet Captain Crunch's intrepid crew, Alfie, Brunhilde, Dave, Carlisle, and Sea Dog, who always accompany the captain on his hair-raising adventures to help him deal with Magnolia Bulkhead and her mate, Otis, of the submarine Snapdragon, surely the only lavender submarine in existence, featuring a sequined periscope and sunken bathtub. Magnolia has dedicated her life to the pursuit of Captain Crunch. Object, matrimony. And then it also says, get all 3 comic books, Cap'n Crunch and the Picture Pirates, Cap'n Crunch and the Fountain of Youth, and Cap'n Crunch in I'm Dreaming of a Wide Isthmus. Of course, that's one of Jay Ward's puns that he was so famous for. These are really fun adventure stories, very much in the mold of the commercials, and they were all produced by the Jay Ward Studio. Just great stuff. Now, this is part of the first set of 3 that was offered in 1963. There was at least one more set offered in 1965. And one of those mini comics was especially interesting because it's entitled Bewitched, Betwitched, and Betweaked. And it starts out, on board the good ship Guppy, Cap'n Crunch and his crew watched their favorite television show. One of the kids says, "She twitched her nose. Now watch. Something magic will happen." "You're right," says Alfie. "That table's flying. Gee, I wish I could make magic by twitching my nose." And gee, I wonder what television show they're talking about that was on in 1965.
The Quaker Oats Company presents
The title of the show is never mentioned in the comic, except the word bewitched is used in the title. But of course, there's no doubt about the show being bewitched. So it seems like kind of a sly, satiric jab at Quaker Oats' sponsorship, and that's very typical of Jay Ward's approach and sense of humor. Another prize that was given were these wonderful hand puppets. Now, we've seen these before. They're glove-like, they're plastic. They're probably not very expensive to produce, but with these wonderfully designed characters, there's lots of fun. So I have Brunhilde. You can see each character has their name on their sailor hat, which really helps introducing and establishing the characters. Here's Alfie. And Sea Dog, which is a lot of fun. And there were 3 more puppets to make a set of 6, so you could collect them all. I, unfortunately, have only these 3. But here's the whole set. Aside from that, I only have some of the Cap'n Crunch cereal boxes of more recent vintage, some of the holiday ones, and then also for the 60th anniversary, celebrate 60 years with the Cap'n. Here is Cap'n Crunch's Crunch Berries. What's really fun about these more recent, and Quaker has done this on and off, is on the back you can see some of the established Cap'n Crunch characters who have not appeared in commercials in years. So here we can see Carlisle and Dave and the gang, Crunchberry Beast. And Quisp and his frenemy Quake are a whole other thing in Quaker cereals and commercials. So that's a whole other video. But it's really fun. We even have the different designs through the years, the 60s, the 80s, the 2000s. And the same thing on the back of this box, these really fun games and puzzles. And we can see here Smedley, the Crunchberry Beast, Jean Lafoot, and again, Quisp. Now again, Cap'n Crunch has gone through another design change. I'm sure just for his 60th birthday. He now looks a little more CGI. Undoubtedly, the designers think that they have to be very contemporary and go with that sort of look for modern audiences. I think the original designs were best. And of course, it's all based on those original designs. So it's not too far afield. But I wish they would go back to the original designs, as are seen on the original boxes and the retro boxes that they sometimes release. Now, I promised I would tell you about Cap'n versus Captain. And that came about because the great June Foray, in recording Brunhilde's voice for the original commercials, said Cap'n in a childlike way, befitting Brunhilde's character. And Jay Ward loved it and told Quaker, you have to name the character Cap'n Crunch. It's so much friendlier and more unique than Captain. And they agreed. And it's been Cap'n ever since. What about Cap'n Crunch's first name? Did you know it? Of course, it's Horatio. And we have this neat little bio of Cap'n Crunch at the beginning of the comic book. It says, about Cap'n Crunch. Captain Horatio Crunch, whose current ambition is to duplicate the feat of the nuclear submarine Nautilus, Disney fans, I hope you're paying attention, by sailing his frigate, the Guppy, under the North Pole, is 576 years old. So we can add 60 years to that now. Though he was in on most of the important explorations and discoveries that occurred during his lifetime, his natural modesty has kept his name out of the pages of history. He stood quietly by as his boatswain's mate, San Francisco, had a city named after him. There was no protest on the good captain's part when Baltimore, Maryland was named after his navigator. When the Quaker Oats Company heard about these gross injustices, they did their duty as they saw it. They put out a new, ready-to-eat cereal and named it after Cap'n Crunch.
Sea dog? Oh, sing a song of Cap'n Crunch.
The sugar-sweet cereal that's fun to munch.
It's great for breakfast or even lunch.
No amount of milk will make it lose its crunch.
No amount of milk will make it lose its crunch.
So all ashore that's going ashore. At Cap'n Crunch at the grocery store. Why can't you just bark like other dogs? I wonder if other captains have these problems. But then, they don't have a cereal named after them.